video on 2-point perspective. I'm making this a video rather than teaching you as a class so that you can go at your own speed, pause, whatever you want to do. So earlier in the semester, we did 1-point perspective, and that meant that all of the lines went back to this 1 point. If you weren't in the class at that time, that's what 1-point perspective is. All of these lines go to this 1 point. I can follow them all to 1 point. So this is 1-point perspective. 2-point perspective has 2 points. So there's one right here where it says vanishing point and one right here where it says vanishing point. And you can follow all of these lines as well back to those 2 points. So if I were to follow this, it would eventually lead to this vanishing point. If I were to follow this one, it would lead to this vanishing point. The windows, the vertical lines are straight up and down, but the top and the bottom of those windows lead to the vanishing point. So anytime this person drew a vertical line, it was straight up and down. But anytime they needed to draw the top and the bottom of something, they took it to one or sometimes both, if they're showing the corner of the vanishing point. We are going to make robots, 2-point perspective robots. So this is my example, and you can make yours different, certainly, than this, but we're going to kind of work together to at least get it started, and you can kind of see how that goes. So the first thing we want to do is we want to start to get those 2 vanishing points. So you want to get your paper, your pencil, your eraser, and your ruler. I don't have a ruler, so I'm using a paint stick, but you hopefully will have a ruler, because the first thing to do would really be to find your halfway point on the side. Your paper should be 9 inches, which would put your vanishing point at 4.5 if you want it to be right in the center, and that works pretty well. Since I don't have that, I'm just going to slightly fold it. There's my vanishing point, and over here is my other vanishing point. So 2-point perspective means we have 2 vanishing points. 1-point perspective, 1 vanishing point. All right, so hopefully you can see that on the video. Not very bright in here, but there are 2 dots there where I'm going to be taking my vertical lines to create the robot. So first I'm going to make the head of the robot, so I need that to be higher on the paper. Eventually we'll be cutting these out, so if you mess up somewhere and move it over or start over, it doesn't really matter. This is just to get you started. So we're going to make a vertical line, and with your ruler you can actually take it and try to line it up with the top of your paper if you want, to help ensure that you have a nice straight line there. But what I want to do now is I want to take the top and the bottom of that line to both vanishing points. So I'm going to, and you will eventually erase these, although we'll be cutting them out, so it's not imperative. But you don't want to make it too dark, is what I'm trying to say. So get my ruler lined up so this vanishing point and that, or this point, top of the line, and this vanishing point are both showing. Take that over. Do the same thing over here. And that's going to give me the sides of my robot's head. I'm kind of missing my vanishing point there. Okay. So now that I have those 2 drawn there, kind of hard to see. I'll try to draw it darker from now on. I'm going to, let me just darken this so you can see it better. I'm going to go ahead and figure out how big do I want this robot's head to be. And I'm going to say, okay, this one's got kind of a long head. So this line that I'm going to draw to stop the head needs to be straight up and down again. So I can line it up with the top of the paper if I want. Draw my straight line there. And I'm going to get him kind of a skinny, boxy head here. So straight line here. Now, you'll notice something, right? It looks like a box, except by missing the bottom. I actually need to take these new points that I've created here to the vanishing point. If it's going to show. So in this case, the bottom of the head is going to show. So I want to go ahead and take that over to the vanishing point. Trying to draw a little darker now for you. And take this one over to that vanishing point. So now here's my robot's head. There it is in space. Let me show you the first one again. Right? See the difference? So this one's a little bit fatter and squarer. This one's a little longer, but it's the same thing. I have the bottom of it showing. I want to make another box for the body. In this case, I kind of join them with like a hose or something. I don't know. But you can do it however you want. You could make it some straight lines. I guess that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use my ruler again to actually ensure that they are straight. Okay. And then I'm going to think the body's going to be around there. So I'm going to go ahead and make another line. Now I want this one to be bigger than the head, I think. So I'm not going to make it exactly in line with this. I'm going to move it over a little. I'm going to draw it nice and tall here. Okay. So that's the line that I'm going to use for my robot body. So again, I'm going to take the top and the bottom to these vanishing points. Now don't forget, you can pause at any point. You can rewind at any point. You can start over at any point that you need to get a head drawn, whether your head is more rectangular like this or boxy, but you want it to be in 2-point perspective. But now on the body, take it over to those lines. Now, technically, the horizon line, which we didn't talk about in this one, and we talked about it in 1-point perspective, the horizon line is straight across those 2 points. If your head is above the horizon line, we're going to see the bottom of it. If your body is below the horizon line, we're going to see the top of it. I don't think we're going to have any of the top showing here, but we'll see. All right, so now I need to decide just how wide this body is. And it could be, yours can certainly be longer, but again, these lines are nice and, I'll make them thin, I guess. Nice and straight. So line it up with the top of the paper. And then I can see, do any of these lines need to go to the opposite vanishing point? This won't need to go to the vanishing point because it would go right through the box. This one, same thing. So no, I don't really need to bring any of these the way that I had to do this one. Now I want to extend this down so it looks like it's going into their body there. And then I'm going to make some legs. They could be, you know, just straight like this if I wanted, but that looks like it's a little far over. But I would use my ruler to make them nice and straight. I'm going to just freehand them because I want to make this video go long because it's getting kind of long. For the feet or arms, or if I want to add anything on, like another box here somewhere, arms, you know, I want to keep them somewhat straight lines unless they're going to go to this vanishing point. So if I'm going to make square feet, I'm going to, yeah, again, draw a line, take it to those vanishing points to make those feet. The other thing you're going to notice on my drawing, when I show it to you again, is that this little foot here, is so far below the vanishing point that I am going to need to take it over here to make it totally square here, to make a, because we would see the top of it, basically. So the top of the box is something like that. The top of his foot is something like that. And then I would go on to make another one, which would probably be over here. And I need to actually take those to the vanishing point, which I'm not doing right now because I'm talking. But I want to draw arms on him and just kind of figure out, where do I want these arms to be? What do I want these arms doing? But the other thing is, if you put in facial features, if I want to put a bow on her, I actually want that bow to be in perspective too. I'm going to put a bow on this robot that just became a girl because I said her. So I'm just drawing this little line here, which is kind of light. I'm going to darken it in case you can't see on the video, but I would draw it real light because I'm going to put a bow, and I'm just using that as a guide to say, okay, this is where my bow has to fit to look like it is correct. Okay, so there's a bow. And then I can make my eyes however I want to, but I want them again to go along a line to the vanishing point. So I'm going to make a little line and a little line. So her eyes could be those little lines, or I can use those lines to say, okay, she has got that bow there, so it can't be very big. But maybe she just has little eyes like that. But they have to go to that vanishing point. Her mouth, vanishing point. Has to go to that vanishing point. However, I want to make her mouth. Don't look very happy right now. So I think you could maybe make it a little happier. If I want to put any gears on here, anything, if I want to put a TV screen in here, they have to go to this vanishing point over here for me to figure out what that's going to look like. You can draw a little Fortnite scene in there. Let me show you mine again. So I put this little gear here. These little dots should kind of go along a line to this. This line goes to the vanishing point. Both the top and the bottom of this mouth go to the vanishing point. These go to the vanishing point. The feet go to the vanishing points. You can see that I started to shade mine. We're going to talk about that another day. Today, your goal is to try to get a pencil drawing completed. My girl with the bow here is not too far from completed. I need to give her some kind of arms that don't look so goofy. Because she's so boxy, probably would give her some kind of, maybe just like straight down arms even, that I seem like I always make robot hands like that, but I don't really know how else to do it. But her other arms would probably be over here. So at least she's got arms now. But so you just want to kind of get the robot finished today. Put your name on there. And then tomorrow we'll talk about outlining it with the marker, getting it darker.